You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on fancy gardening equipment to start your seeds indoors. In this video, I'll be walking you through a super easy, affordable way to start your seeds indoors to get a head start on your spring garden. To start off, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need either a clear storage container or a foil pan with a lid attachment, some seed starter mix. I'm using a Jiffy brand, seed trays, and of course your seeds, which I left inside the house. What a funny girl. First thing we're gonna do is pack our seed trays. So the soil composition is a very important thing when it comes to gardening, especially starting seeds, because if the soil is too compact, the roots that sprout from the seed won't be able to break through because it's too tough. But if it's too loose, the roots won't have anything to grab onto to keep them established. So you want it to be like just in the middle between super compact and super loose. So the first thing you're gonna do, I'm putting this just on my top because I don't have a bowl or anything. You wanna dampen your seed starting mix. Just pouring a little bit of water in here, mixing it. It should get to the point where it sticks but doesn't fall apart. So this is too dry. Say a lot. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Okay, this is what you're aiming for. So I squeeze it and it maintains its form. So next you're gonna take your seed tray and kind of slap it in and smooth it down. Fill each tray. Whatever you're planting, plant more than you actually want. So if you only want 2 kale plants, plant 4, because the seeds you put in for those 2 might not sprout. Everything in gardening is essentially taking a chance. So always plant more than you intend to utilize, just in case. So I didn't fill my entire seed tray because I only want 2 kale plants. So even if I planted all of this, that would still be just a whole bunch of extra. If I were to stick my finger in here and it just went straight to the bottom, no resistance, it would be too loose. If I stuck my finger in here and I'm putting force behind it and it doesn't budge, it's too tight. You want it to be right in the middle. So this one I did earlier was like a perfect example. It needs more soil though. You should be able to stick your finger in each cell and be able to indent it without having to put pressure behind it. So a good example here, I was able to stick my finger in, no pressure. It didn't fall through and I didn't have to force it in. That's a good example. That's a good example. That's what you're aiming for. If you have to put force behind your finger in order to get a little indentation, and I'm not going all the way to the bottom, I'm just going to my first knuckle. If you have to put force behind it, you've packed it too loosely, so take some out and transfer it to a different cell. And if it falls in, it's too, I meant to say tight, but you get what I'm saying. If it falls in, it's too loose. To plant your seeds, you're going to take 1 seed and put it in each cell. So the indentations you just made, if you didn't already make them, make an indentation in each cell block just up to your first knuckle. So where it bends or where that first line is on your finger, just that far, and take 1 seed and plant it in each cell. If you end up dropping more than 1, it's not the end of the world. Just know that when the crops come up, you will have to weed the weakest links out. You don't want to put too many, you don't want to put too many, have too many growing in the same cell, because then they'll be competing for nutrients and everything. So remaining seeds back in your seed pack. And then you're going to take a very thin layer of seed starter mix and put it on top. These need darkness, moisture, and humidity to germinate. So you gotta cover them up. You gotta bury them in order for them to grow. Nothing grows without first being planted. That's a life lesson. So I just added a super thin layer on top. And then, let me show you this. And then I'm just going to water this in. Make sure you label if you have multiple seeds. I will eventually be using a popsicle stick and putting that in here, but they're in the house and I just didn't feel like going to get them. So make sure you label if you have multiple different crops so you don't get them mixed up. But I'm just gonna water this in. If you don't have a watering can, it's not the end of the world. You could just take a regular bottle of water and poke holes in the top and do that. You don't want the water pressure to be too high anyway, because then it might wash away the seeds you just planted. This is like the perfect flow. Boom. We're good to go. That's what the finished product looks like. So now that we have our seeds planted, we're going to place them inside of our clear storage container. If you're using a foil pan with the lid, then you'll just be placing the top on your foil pan. And I'm going to get the top for this. And I'm going to place the lid on here. So the reason that we're doing this is because in order for seeds to germinate, they need moisture, darkness, and humidity. So the purpose of the clear storage container or a foil pan is to create a mini greenhouse. So this will keep the heat entrapped, keep the moisture entrapped, so that it provides the environment that the seeds need in order to germinate or to sprout. Now, because we need humidity, it's not hot outside yet, or else we'll be planting these directly outside. So you want to store your storage container or your foil pan in a temperature controlled environment until everything has sprouted. So this is something like if you have a heated garage, that would be cool. A heated basement, your bedroom, your living room, your kitchen, they don't need to be exposed to light right now. So just about anywhere works as long as it's temperature controlled. Although the mini greenhouse itself is keeping heat in, the outside temperature still does make a difference. So if it's negative 10 degrees outside, it'll only probably be 0 in here. But if it's, you know, your house is kept at like 70 degrees, then it'll be about 80 to 85 in here. So you want to keep it in a temperature controlled environment to really capture that humidity, and the foil pan or the clear storage container create the greenhouse effect for you, so you don't have to go and buy a whole bunch of crazy expensive seed starting equipment just to start your seeds indoors. But to leave your seeds in your container in wherever heated location you keep it in until you see every sprout break the surface. Now keep in mind, every seed won't sprout. So make sure you read your seed packets to know how long you should be waiting for sprouts to pop up, just in case one of them doesn't pop up. So you're not waiting, 2-3 weeks, because you need to take the top off of whatever container you're using once everything sprouts, so that it can start getting airflow. If you keep the top on too long, they have the risk of rotting. That's what happened to me last year when I started my chickpeas indoors. Because I had kept the top on so long, they started rotting slightly. So as soon as every single sprout breaks the top, you want to take the lid off of whatever container you're using, and then they need consistent sunlight. So if you don't have a southward facing window, I highly, highly, highly recommend you use this storage container, because you'll be able to utilize this outside, which I will get into in my next video. Now you know how to start your seedlings indoors with affordable materials to help you get a head start on your spring garden. So what should you do with the seedlings once they sprout? In my next video, I'll be showing you how to take care of the seedlings you just sprouted, whether you keep them indoors or move them outside, and how to prepare them to officially relocate outside for the remainder of the growing season. If you found this video helpful, make sure you give it a like, and I'll see you next week.